some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. With sympathy.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Happy bank holiday for all of us in the UK that are having a bank holiday. It's been a beautiful day down here in southeast England. For once, at last, the temperature is going up. It's been a balmy 19 degrees here today, and about bloody time, to be honest. I'm fed up with the cold. Darren, how are you, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, Jez. Sort of in a bit of a lull at the moment. Obviously, all the games were on over the weekend, so we play tomorrow. So there's a bit of a delay. It's, I'm sort of looking at this game, interested, but a bit deflated like most people. So we'll see how it goes. See if Arsenal can cheer me up tomorrow night with a good win over our old rival, Fat Frank, who... 10 men need to lift him in a forklift truck. So if he turns us over tomorrow, I'm not going to be improved with my morale towards our manager or club. So I expect a nice 3 points tomorrow.
Well, I'm hoping for it, mate. I am seriously hoping for it. Sadly, I probably won't get to see the game tomorrow night, but it is how it is. TJ, man. Your show is growing beautifully, blossoming.
Yeah.
Warren TV show, man. So anybody watching, go and support him, man. Go and smash it up because the guy does great content. Mate, how you doing?
Well, I'm a lot calmer than the last time we talked, Jez, but I'm still very, very anxious for this game. There are a lot of people saying that we're just going to touch Chelsea and move on. If there's one thing that we should probably learn as Arsenal supporters at this point of the season is we have to take it one game at a time. A lot of people are already talking about Newcastle, right? And how tough that's going to be. You can't see past this Chelsea team, especially the fact that we can't get results that we expect out of games against teams like West Ham and Southampton. So I'm not as confident as a lot of other people are. But I'm sure we'll get into it here soon. And thank you, Jess, for having me on again. TJ Warren TV, we are 3 off of 150.
No,
so come and sub to me, please. I promise. I promise more rants. But hopefully Arsenal don't push me to that again.
Fair play, man. Kenny Ken, I was on with you an hour ago with Lee Gunner. We spit the facts there, and that got a little bit. Well, I got a little bit hot. Lee got a little bit hot, and you got a little bit hot. And I think that's because Kenny, we were a little bit pissed off, to be honest.
I think you're on mute.
There's a lot of excuses being made by a lot of people who just want us to sort of like turn the clock back, some people don't seem to understand human behavior. If you show human beings something that's 10 times better than what they got already, and they've sampled it, there's no way they're going back to their previous existence, which was a top 4, just hoping to get in the top 4. We're not a top 4 club no more. That was the deal. It's not like 2016 where we shadow boxed actually challenging for that title. And let's face it, all the big teams were off form. We still couldn't manage to win the title. This is the real thing. We led the title for, 247 days so far this season. And it looks like at the 11th hour, we've basically fallen at the last hurdle, and Man City have come in and taken over our crown that should be ours, 8 points ahead. People will say that, this is part of the process, that, you would have taken top 4 or trophy at the beginning of the season. Well, speak for yourselves. You know, I've always said that Arsenal, being the big club that it is, if we spend a lot of money on improved signings, we should be challenging, and that was the goal. The process is over, ladies and gentlemen. The minute you challenge for a title, the process is over. Fact, actually, these are just facts. You know, if we somehow win all our games, we're probably good. Well, we got 75 points now. We'll get 90 points. You can't call it a process if you're going to get 90 points. Still won't win the league, but that's not a process. You know, if to win a title, you've got to get 90 points or more. The process is over. So the excuses shouldn't be there. But let's not beat around the bush. Arsenal bottled the title. You're 8 points clear. We're in the by Easter Monday. You've bottled it. Let's stop talking. We've bottled the title. We have to own it and accept.
Facts, absolute facts. And I was talking about this with a couple of people that they're not Arsenal fans, but they put bets on Arsenal at the start of the season. God knows why, to win the Premier League. One of them is a Newcastle fan. One of them is a Liverpool fan. And I said to them, why? And every time I used to speak to them, they were saying, yeah, you got it wrong, Jez. You know, you got it wrong. And we are very good friends. And now, after what happened at Man City, I said, well, you guys need to cash out. Well, they can't because it's done actually at bookies. And one of these guys was going to win £2,500 if Arsenal won the Premier League. And I said to him, you must feel gutted because it ain't going to happen now. And he went, you never know. And this is just before the game at the weekend, Fulham Man City. And I was having a drink with him at the time. And I said, do you think Man City are going to lose this? And it got wobbly, didn't it? I mean, I watched that game. But the fact remains, I personally thought Fulham should have got something out of that game. Darren, I don't know if you watched it. I did. Fulham should have got something out of that game. There was a bang-on penalty, man. I mean, come on. I mean, what does it take that these officials can get it that wrong? Seriously, mate, tell me about it.
Yeah, I watched the highlights on Match of the Day yesterday, and I did think that there was a good case for a penalty. The one where the goalkeeper sort of makes the challenge, he did get the ball, but you know, you just wonder. I mean, look at Man City's penalty that they had in the first bit. You know, I mean, that you could argue that's just two players colliding, and there was no. If the guys Alvarez has trapped it and then went to move, well, you can't be afforded that luxury of being able to get a ball on your right thigh, move it along, and then have the freedom of the penalty area. The bloke has just sort of gone into him, and straight away, referee penalty straight away. But we all know when you're the champions, officials do bottle giving decisions against the champions. We've been on the profitable end of that over the years as well, so we know what it's like to get the rub of the green like that. But so you've got to expect a little bit of that. But even so, I still think on Match of the Day there was two decisions there last night when I saw it that Fulham could have got that penalty. And of course, then if it had been a draw, Man City, you know, wouldn't be as far ahead and we'd be having a chance of catching up. But to be quite honest, I think regardless now of what City do, I can't see us winning every game for the rest of the season. I really can't.
No, fact. TJ, I don't know if you saw the highlights or you watched it. I've no idea. Personally, to me, Fulham put in a great shift against Man City, but they couldn't get over the line. And I personally, I think the referee got that totally wrong. I really do. I mean, yeah, I know you probably didn't see it because you were a wedding function, was it? I think.
Yeah, I was coming back from a wedding function. I was visiting some in-laws, but I caught some of the game. I caught some of the Tottenham game and Man United games as well. There is one thing that is consistent through the three, and that's how inconsistent refereeing and VAR is. It is very, very it's a distraction now from the game. I almost want them to take VAR out completely of certain situations, just because it's either going to completely kill the momentum or it's going to be wrong or inconsistent, especially on some of those offside calls. I mean, there's been zero consistency, different camera angles for different plays, things like that. I know I'm kind of going off on a different tangent, but yeah, I mean, good for Fulham for putting in a shift against Man City, but at the end of the day, they didn't get it done. And now they're going to be without Tim Ream, their captain, for the rest of the season because of an injury. So they good thing they got their points early, because they're going to be looking at the business end of some pretty poor results at the end of the season. But again, like I going back to what you were talking about with and some of the people in the chat talking about faith, from a process to phases to faith now. Because now you have to have faith in some sort of higher power to say, oh yeah, Arsenal still have a chance. We don't have a chance. It's over. It's done. It's dusted. And if you think that we're going to walk into St. James Park and get 3 points, I have a bridge to sell you. The way those guys are playing right now, they look like absolute world beaters, and they're going to be in the Champions League with us next season. And that's just facts. They turned it on at the right time. Lucky enough for our friend Strasbourg Steve over there. But getting back to the point, Jez, we have to, Arsenal and Arsenal fans have to focus on just getting one win at a time. We cannot depend on Man City to drop points, because they won't. And at this point, they're probably going to win out. And even if we do win out, which we won't, we're still going to get second or even third on our current run of form.
Absolutely. Mate, I'm absolutely, well, I won't get into it, but I'm just so disappointed. I really am. Yeah, I won't get into it. I can't see it on here, but I'll see it on my other computer. Tony Neri, beg your pardon, member for 9 months. He's saying big up to everyone. Level 1 membership, mate. Thank you for that.
Big up.
And I'm going to come to you, Kenny, on this one, man. Do Arsenal, in your belief, I mean, you're a seasoned Arsenal follower, fan. You go to all the games. Do Arsenal have the mindset to bounce back tomorrow night against Chelsea at the Emirates?
Confidence is on the floor. Confidence is on the floor for the players. I think the pressure's still on. And I think we've seen over the last probably 19 years, when Arsenal are under pressure, they're not at their best, especially when it comes to the championship rounds. But when the pressure's relaxed, then you see them play their best football. We only have to rewind back to 2008 season, where we were leading again, playing probably better football than we're actually playing now, and had better players than what we had now. But we should have won the title in that year. It ended up, because of our capitulation, being a shootout between Chelsea and Man United. As soon as it became clear that we weren't going to win the title, that we started playing good, beautiful stuff again. The pressure was off, and I think right now, if the mindset is that we can still win the title when the pressure's on, I'm not holding out much hope for us winning the games. I'm really not. I think if we scrape a win tomorrow and Newcastle put us out of misery, then the pressure will be off and they start playing good football so they can cement second place. I think right now they got no form anyway. Confidence was probably down anyway. Probably when we got to the City game, you saw the players on the floor after Southampton when they all sat down and went, what the hell's happening now? Oh no, we've got City next. We're going there with no sort of form. Gabriel on the floor had to be picked up by some of his teammates. Zinchenko not looking, at his best, looking downtrodden. They're going against Man City with that kind of mindset. Nah, no thanks. There's no way we're going to win that game. It's the same thing now. You know, we're under pressure to give, you know, against Chelsea now. And not under a normal circumstances, with Chelsea, you know, basically not having no ability to score goals, we could have played a rush goalie tomorrow. We can't play a rush goalie because our confidence is on the floor anyway. And no matter how poor defensive we are, as bad as Chelsea are from an attacking point of view, I don't think they're going to sort of, pass over these, you know, gifts that we're going to give them tomorrow. So right now, if I was Mick Arteta, I would give certain players a rest or just drop them. You know, drop them. I know it's not really popular with some of the fans, but there's certain players who are just off form, and the more you select them, the worse they're going to play. We know who they are. We can name at least 4 or 5 players who need to be dropped, and you know, take a risk, freshen up a bit. Trossard has to be considered. You know, Smith Rowe might immediately to be considered. Maybe Reece Nelson be considered. That's 3 players I've named, but if we're going to rely on players whose chins are on the floor to get us out of this rut, not convinced, really not convinced they could be able to do it because confidence is on the floor.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I'm just going to say, people, there's 45 watching and only 27 likes. Smash them up, beat them up. I'm on the road to 4K subs. It'd be nice to get there. I'm going to say that I'm going to put a target out there. I'm 62 on the 31st of May this year. I'd like to get to 4K subs if at all possible. It'd be brilliant. It'd be great. And I will, if I do, I'll open a bottle of champagne, do a show and say, here's to the 4K. But Darren, I'll ask you this, mate. Do Arsenal have the mindset to bounce back after what happened at Man City? I mean, we just capitulated, mate. It was like it was Pep Guardiola, the master, against Arteta, the apprentice. I mean, he totally outfoxed him. He outfoxed him. Can we bounce back?
I don't think we can, to be quite honest. And the reason why I say that is because our philosophy is top 4. Our trophy is top 4. And going into these games, I think perhaps the players are looking at the table thinking, oh, well, look, whatever happens now, we've succeeded. We're a success. Last season, they went and offered, and Arteta took his new contract before we got in the top 4, right? And what happens after Arteta takes his contract? We don't get in the top 4. The targets are far too low. We get knocked out of these cups, and these cups are essential to keep the engine going. If you're not on full throttle and you're playing one game a week, I actually think it's probably worse. Looking at what has happened to us this season now, I think it's probably better if you try and remain in at least one cup competition as well as challenge for the title. So you've got 2 games a week. If you've then got 2 games a week, you're more focused. Your mind's more, you're practicing. All right, training is training, but it's not game. It's never going to be a competitive game, is it? So I don't think we've got the guts to recover this, win every last game of our season. And you mentioned Newcastle as a model. They're a brilliant model to look at because what they've done is added 1 or 2 mega signings like Isak up front, who now, by the way, is looking like he is some striker because he's got good control. He don't panic. You see him warm up on the sideline. He's not panicking. He looks like he's as cold as ice. And comes on, starts running around. Nobody can get the ball off him. He's like a glorified Carnu of Arsenal. And he's scoring goals. He's laying goals on. And Newcastle have got that model where they've got some rough diamonds. You know, the fullbacks, they've got rough diamonds as fullback. Trippier, he's a rough diamond. He's been around the block. He's 32, 33. He's no young whippersnapper for the next 10 years. But he's he's a trained soldier. He's out. He can do it. We haven't got trained soldiers. We've got a bunch of apprentices, as manager, as owners, directors, from top to bottom. It's no good. It's all wrong. We've got learners all over the shop. There's no experience anywhere. Our manager's not experienced. Our owners ain't experienced because we're part of their portfolio in a property sporting portfolio worldwide. So the whole culture of the club is riddled with incompetence from top to bottom. And I actually think they're on the beach now, our players. They'll be on the beach. And I won't be surprised one little bit. If he goes and plays the same team, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Xhaka, Odegaard, we get beat tomorrow or slip up with a draw. And I agree 100% with Kenny Ken. I'm not saying Kenny Ken's not actually said this. He said consider these players. But if I was the manager tomorrow, I'd be saying to Saka and Martinelli, you're on the bench, and I'd be putting Nelson and Trossard in from the start with maybe Smith Rowe to come on, because Smith Rowe doesn't actually look fit to me. He don't look 100%. But then there's rumours that perhaps he's been swept aside because he's not getting on with Arteta. But so in a nutshell, no, I don't think we've got any chance of recovering this season.
No, I'm with you on that one. I just think this team is just mentally weak. Sad to say. Roel says, "Thank you, mate, for your super chat. Thank you, mate. Can't understand how 11 players have a run of bad form together. Your manager has to take the blame for his selections and game management." Absolutely, I totally agree. Thank you, mate, for your super chat. We have to look at the blame. And I'm sorry. I'm TJ. I'm going to come to you, mate. We have to look at the whole structure. I'm sorry. I called this some weeks ago. Something has gone wrong in the structure of this football club. I'm going to ask you two questions here, TJ. First of all, can we bounce back against Chelsea? Then I'm going to ask you, is the mindset right at Arsenal? And then I'm going to go to Kenny and ask Kenny about the mindset of Arsenal.
Can we bounce back? Yes, I think we can. Chelsea are terrible. They've been sitting at 39 points for 6 weeks now, I believe. They haven't even hit, like, they're still in danger of being relegated. They are brushing up against the relegation zone. They are tied on points with Bournemouth in the 34th week of this season. Think about that. So if we can't get a result against them, we have bigger problems, gentlemen, than we can even touch on here. Do I think we're going to turn it around at the risk of being overly positive? Yes, because I'm going to say yes, because I believe that these players can get it over the line against Chelsea, against relegation form Chelsea. Do I think they have the mentality? Do I think that there's an overall mentality problem in the squad? I've touched on this. Absolutely, I think there is. There's no get back up in this team right now. Once we get punched, once we meet a little bit of adversity, we don't have the players that I thought we did. Getting in other people's faces and telling them to put your chin up and go do the job. We do not have that leadership in the squad. We were looking at somebody like Granit Xhaka to do that job, because Martin Odegaard sure doesn't do it. He's not a talker. He's not pumping these guys up in the huddle. Whenever you see people doing that, it's either Jesus, Xhaka, or Zinchenko doing the pumping up in their little team huddle. And then lately, especially after we went down 2-0 against Southampton, I don't know if you noticed this, but Zinchenko had them huddled around and was yelling at him to get going. Everybody just seemed disinterested. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys caught that. It just seemed like everybody was disinterested. They didn't seem like they were really listening to anything that he had to say, which is why I hope that we can really get some true leadership with true experience in this squad over the summer, because we're not going to see it the rest of the season. Like, do I think we're going to beat Chelsea? Yes. Do I think we're going to beat Newcastle? Absolutely not. I think we're going to go out there and get beat 4-1 at St. James Park. We'll be lucky to score. But against Chelsea, we should be able to beat them. I'm going to one. But we were talking about lineups, and then I'll wrap it up. We're talking about lineups. I think we need to drop Jesus. I think we need to put Trossard up top. We need to give him a run out because when he was playing up top and rotating with Martinelli, in the center forward position and wing position, we were really producing. So I want to see if we can maybe go back to that. So I would want to drop Jesus, maybe bring him on 60th minute if we aren't producing, and I want to also see ESR, which we probably won't. And I want to see him in Odegaard's position because Odegaard hasn't been able to produce there either. It's called creative midfield, and he's not creating anything. So,
facts. I'll tell you. Kenny, same question to you, mate. Give me your opinion. I know we've partially discussed this before. Give me your view.
Well, the thing about leaders is that leaders challenge you not just when things are going tough or when you're losing games. They challenge you when you're winning. They try to get rid of the bad habits in the football match. And I think what's happened, we got caught in the euphoria of the games against Aston Villa and Bournemouth, where there wasn't any sort of hard. I didn't seem to think there was any hard criticisms of the way we conceded goals in those games, the way we conceded even clear-cut chances, because we saw them again and again, even in games we're winning. I mean, Leeds, as terrible as they are, the first, from kick-off against Leeds, Christensen had a shot just from the kick-off. And, you have to look at games after Leeds, the chances we conceded against Liverpool, even when we were on top. And the West Ham game was just a nightmare. But the thing is, that goes all the way back to the Brentford game, where we were careless in midfield and we were conceding chances. A leader of men sees that. A coach who understands the game sees that as well. So, but if you don't have leaders, then what will happen is that players you don't get respect. People only play well. Or play well, like I said, when things are going their way. They don't know how to win games playing poorly. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing we have at Arsenal. For the last 19 years, we haven't had any leaders. We've had players who've claimed to be leaders, have played it. But we haven't got really leaders. If we had any leaders in our team, we would have won the Champions League by now. We'd have won a league by now. We even challenged for league on a regular basis. We haven't. We've got players who are good enough to get us, who previously were good enough to get us in the top four until, we stopped getting the top four on a regular basis. But before that, we had players who were just good enough to get us in that phase of, of our sort of, how to say it, phase of our resistance in the chat at the Emirates. But to get us over the line, we used to always see games back in the day when Wenger was there at the Emirates Stadium, where we knew if we played Chelsea home and away, we'd lose. Or if we'd get a draw. We knew if we played a Man United under Sir Alex, we'd get pumped. We knew that if we played a Liverpool that was strong under Rafa, it would be 50-50. But more than likely, when it came to the nitty-gritty, they'll beat us. And I think that hasn't changed. That should have changed this season. We thought it was going to change this season. But we've now seen, when it came to like the business end of the season, our litmus test was Man City, and we failed. I think there was something in the Man City game where Man City got confidence from the fact that although they respected us, the fact they beat us at the Emirates made them think, you know what, we can win this title if we put these lot under pressure. Let's see what they're like under pressure. Let's see if they're going to capitulate. And they actually probably thought they'll get snookers against Liverpool and Man City. I don't think they actually thought they'll get snookers against Southampton and West Ham. I don't think they could believe their luck. They must be laughing their heads off and thinking, boy, that was easy. I actually thought that when these lot came to the Etihad, we're going to have to fight for our lives. Look at that game. It was like a practice match for them.
It
That
was.
just shows there's no leadership at the club. Leadership isn't pumping your fists, and saying, come on. Leadership is getting players to, do the basics right and eradicating bad habits, because these are just contagious. It was repeat with the mistakes. Tony Adams wouldn't let that happen. I know Keogh won't let that happen. I know for a fact, Lehman wouldn't have that. Vieira wouldn't have that. Even someone like you got a quieter guy like Chloe Toure wouldn't have had that. But when William Gallas, who was who wanted to be a leader, by the time he came to Arsenal, he came to Barcelona where they're all pals. So when he tried to lead, no, you can't tell us what to do. We're going to go and tell what I said. That's the mentality we've had for 19 years.
Yeah.
So when it does get to the championship rounds, if boxing fans amongst us, this happens.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, Kenny, I'm sorry to say this. I think Arsenal do have a weak mentality. Yeah, I'm sorry. Mikel Arteta made the statement he's fixed the mentality, but then he called them weak mentality. What the hell is going on? And I'm Darren, mate. You know Arsenal. You've been around them for God knows how long. Why, Darren, did we throw away the FA Cup, the European EFL Cup, the Carrier Bag Cup to win the Premier League, and then we don't? And then the fact is, sorry. And yeah, everybody's gassing it up. All the big channels. Oh yeah, well, we've got bigger fish to fry. Yeah, we got the, we're going to win the Premier League. Da 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 da. For fuck's sake, we aren't winning the Premier League. Yet we threw away the FA Cup and the other cups. 2 years on the trot. Sorry, mate, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, it is. I think what Arteta's done is he's put all his eggs in the league basket, knowing that he probably ain't going to win it. But if he tries to win it and gets in the top four, then they've all succeeded. And I bet you all them players have all got something in their contracts. So if they get in the top four, they'll get some sort of bonus,
of course,
or something like that. But the cups being binned, and the way Arteta binned them, and the teams that he played in them cups, especially the FA Cup and the Europa Cup League, is unforgivable, because the cups are so important. And actually they're probably easier to win than the league, So if you go winning a couple of cups or one cup in a season, all of a sudden there's a winning mentality there. People like a celebration, a win. It goes on your belt for your club's successes in the past, on your sheet of achievements. And whilst we sit there and Man City are catching us up with league titles and other trophies, just unforgivable. I mean, people go on about the League Cup being Mickey Mouse, and yesterday I went on Warren's show about Wembley, and fortunately I had some experience to call upon, because my Arsenal experiences at Wembley have mainly been League Cup finals in 87 and 88. And I'm telling you now, I got as much pleasure out of seeing us win the League Cup in them 2 years than I would do if we won the Champions League next season. Because for a start, I got to be there. I know if we get in the Champions League next season, let's put all positive red tinted glasses on. We sack Arteta next week, get Ancelotti in, we sign all these players, Harry Kane up front and Milinkovic-Savic in midfield, and all of a sudden we're a proper club and we're doing everything. We win the Champions League next year. I probably ain't going to see the game, and I'm probably not getting out there because I ain't got the contacts ticket-wise, because I don't go to all the games, and I'm not going to go and pay $4,000 or $10,000 for a ticket and all that. But guess what? I was at the League Cup in 87 and 89 and 88. We lost in 88, but we won in 87. And I loved it because it was the first trophy we'd won in God knows how long. And it was brilliant. A cup is a cup. A trophy's magnificent. Everyone's driving around in their cars and got the little ribbons on the aerials.
Yeah.
It's feel-good factor. Instead, what we get is, it's all right, it'll be next season. It's all right. We've got a young team. You want to see what we're going to do in the next 12. I've got Facebook people, I'm friends on Facebook that I've just friended, and I have like semi-constructive arguments with them, and they're coming back to me with things like, oh yeah, but you wait now, in the next 2 or 3 years we've edged a bit closer and all this, and I'm just trying to educate them and say, no, it's today. Today is what counts. It's no good dreaming of the future if you know you've got absolutely zero chance. And let's be honest, we all know it's not easy to take Man City on, but we were in the box seat. We were there. We had the chance. If we'd have taken care of all the small teams, we could have gone and got battered 8-0 against Man City last week and still won the title, right? But because he binned all them cups and it's eroded at us, it erodes at your confidence. You're losing. It erodes mistakes. Kiwior against Sporting Lisbon away and ducking with crosses coming in, and all of a sudden we're coming away and 2-2 draws, and we're not on a. It's momentum. We're not got the momentum anymore. And all of a sudden people start looking around thinking, oh dear, and binning these cups is just so heartbreaking, because at least if we know that we're probably not ready to win the league yet, if we take an FA or a Europa or a League Cup in the meantime, it builds things up. Then if we'd have won a cup this season, we would have gone into the summer thinking, well, we ain't done the league because Man City pipped us, but at least we won an FA Cup or a League Cup, so that's good. Now let's see who we side in the summer. It'd make me more pro Arteta by a little bit if we'd have won a cup trophy. I might have been inclined to say, well, let's have a think about this before we say get rid of him. But he's just got rid of them all because he's put all these different players in. Kiwior has never even kicked a ball for us away in a European second round game. Madness.
Shocking. It is shocking, man. I mean, this is what angers me so much, in the fact that we are a big football club. Let's get it right. We are not some tin pot bloody football club. And yet we cannot get it over the line, and we sacrifice cups. And Rao says, fact is that Arsenal doesn't have a leader on the field like Vieira or Keane who can rally the team. Probably only Xhaka. I don't think, mate, I thank you for your super chat. I appreciate that. I don't think even Xhaka is a great leader.
No.
I mean, yeah, when we went down 2-0 against Man City, it was Zinchenko that was trying to rally the team. Where was the captain, Odegaard? Where the hell was he? Where was he? Why wasn't he there kicking arse? Back in the day, that would never have happened because we have a weak mentality. We don't have players that fight. And that's why we throw games and we throw leagues away. You wouldn't see, if this was Chelsea back in their day, You wouldn't see this if it was Man United back in their day with the likes of the players that they've had, iconic players, Arsenal players back in time. That would never happen. Can you imagine that happening with a captain like Patrick Vieira? He'd have you by the bloody throat against the goalpost and say, what the fucking hell are you doing? Tony Adams. We haven't got that leadership. And I'm sorry, until we get the ilk of those sort of players with that mentality, we're not winning jack shit. And it pisses me off. And I'm sorry, my anger's coming out. I'm still angry. I'm still so angry at this football club. TJ, mate, can we bounce back against mentally, can we bounce back against Chelsea?
We need to start out on fire, and I think we can. If we concede first, we're done. I hate to say it. We cannot concede first against these guys. We can't. We cannot. Yeah, Sol Campbell was a leader, Drew. You're absolutely correct. I need to see something out of my captain. I need to see something out of Odegaard. And if he doesn't show up, if Party doesn't show up, we are done, guys. We're done. Okay. Like, and everybody, you know, and I really, really hope going back to what you were saying, Jez, I really, really hope we reframe next season, given the fact that we're in the Champions League. So now that we're in the Champions League, right, we should go out and we should buy players. We should buy depth that should allow us to win trophies like the League Cup, win trophies like the FA Cup a lot easier because we have that depth of squad. And I'm not talking about Fabio Vieira's. I'm not talking about Kiwior. I'm not talking about Reece Nelson. I'm talking about a Tamori. I'm talking about a McAllister. I'm talking about a Bellingham, even however unlikely that is. We need to have depth in this squad, and we need a sporting director that will buy that depth. Okay? We can throw Arteta under the bus all we want. Is he to blame for some of this? Yes, I would. But I'm not seeing near enough people saying Edu out. I'm not seeing near enough. Because, guys, mentality goes from the top to bottom. And I don't need to tell you guys this. Maybe I'm just telling the people in the chat this. But mentality is an organizational thing. It doesn't fall just to the players. It is an organizational thing. Yeah, Kenny, whenever you're going to have your next piano recital, you let me know. I just think that the organization as a whole needs to focus on winning and winning alone, not some sort of process, not some sort of, some sort of, what do they call that? Moral victory is the word I was looking for. I'm done with moral victories. I'm done with top four as the trophy. You know what they have in the hallways at Newcastle in their training center? Steve is going to know where I'm going with this. They have a monitor that says it's been 62 years since we won a trophy. And that has not left their training room monitors. That is a mentality. That is a club that says we have an established goal and we're going to go out and we're going to do it. They didn't get it done this year, but I guarantee you they will next year. I guarantee you Newcastle win a trophy next year or in the next 5 years. Matt Southern Gooner was saying they were going to win the league in the next 5 years. And I think that's a shout, to be honest, the way they're going, the way they're playing, the way that they're building up their players and their organization. So Jez, do I think we're going to rebound? Do we have the mentality to rebound? I think the potential is there, but the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. And the past behavior that we've seen over the last month has been abysmal, especially when we concede stupid goals in the first 5-10 minutes. So if we concede first against Chelsea, guys, it's looking very long for us. So we need to go out there. We need to go out there and be on fire and keep the pedal to the metal. Otherwise, I can see us drawing. And if we draw against Chelsea, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, fact, man. Fact. Strasbourg Steve, top man, always in the chat. Comes on the channel. Great guy. Newcastle fan. Darren, I'm still heartbroken, pissed off. Newcastle lost to Manchester United in the League Cup this year. 100% agree with you. Yeah, mate. I really, really wanted you guys, Steve, to win that. Mate, thanks for your super chat. That brings me on. Let's move on. Andrew says, I was there in 87 and 93. Watched the 79 FA Cup final, my first one. Yeah, that was the 79 one was quite spectacular. I felt fortunate enough to be there. What a day that was. Got horrendously sunburned on my head because I didn't actually, my face rather. Stupid. The sun was mental. But I want to ask you this question. We've got 12 minutes before I'm going to wrap this up. So I'm going to do a quick round robin. I'm going to start with Kenny. Who do we need to sell, Kenny, in the summer window?
Grant Xhaka. Not because of anything he's done wrong, it's because I think he's going to fetch us a lot of money in order for us to get a midfielder in. I don't want it to happen, but I think we've got to sell Kieran Tierney in order to get the money in because for some reason, I'd rather we sold Zinchenko than Tierney because I think Kieran Tierney is probably still our best left back. But if Kieran Tierney isn't going to be satisfied for what he is, and I don't blame him, then we're going to sell him. I like to sell Eddie Nketiah.
Oh dear!
Now that we've got him on obviously on a 3-year contract, we can be able to get a fee for him. Those are, and also there's also I like Rob Holding to be sold as well. All for monetary reasons, and for the fact that not at least one of the players is probably still good enough to play for us. Another one of the players is probably going to be in a situation he's probably going to be past his best next season. But the other two, I just want them to be sold because I don't think that they're Arsenal players. I think they're players who can probably get us in a European challenge, maybe your top 4 here and there. I want players who can help us win the league. But I am hearing that Mikel needs to balance the book. So those are 4 players I'd definitely like to sell. Definitely like to sell. I haven't gone for Onelli because that's just easy. That's lazy mentioning him. But those players I generally think that if we get rid of them, we'll have enough money to get some new players into the club, a new defender, another centre half, and midfield. This is where I think we do need improvement. But I do want a forward. Obviously, Darren, I know it's down your side's West London, but there's only one player that I think can fit the bill, and it's Ivan Toney. That's not no disrespect to Jesus, no disrespect to him at all, but he gives us that kind of variety that we'll have with Jesus in the team. But you know what I mean? That we've got Jesus can do all the workouts on the box, but we give someone who could also do the workouts on the box, but can hold and scores goals. I mean, he's no disrespect to Brentford. He scored 20 goals with Brentford. We didn't think a lot of people thought he wouldn't be able to make the transition from the Championship, where he scored 30 odd goals, into the Premiership. He's made that transition quite comfortable and seamless. Can't deny that. He's a player we should be going for. Let's get there before Man United go for him or Newcastle try to buy him back.
Yeah. Fact. Darren, mate, I mean, I've got my little list. Who do we have to clear out this bleeding club? Because I'm sorry, there's a lot of rotten eggs in here. That seriously.
Yeah. I mean, Rob Holding would be the top of my list to go. Granit Xhaka would be just underneath him. Eddie Nketiah as well. You need to get rid of him. El Neni I would get rid of as well. Yeah, he has done us a few good jobs
We just give
in
him a
the
new
past.
contract. We gave him a
But
new contract when he's injured.
well, yeah,
What's the
but
fucking sense in
I
that?
still think he's got to go. He's not the
Yeah, I
sort of
agree.
player he's not gonna take us where we need to be. He's injured a lot of the time. Where's he been? He's been injured for a lot of times. Yeah, so that is, I mean, people like Reece Nelson, they can go, sadly. He's a good lad. He's done a job, but he's not going to be where we need to be. And I think we've actually got a massive overhaul job on to try and get where. Forget all this nonsense about people talking about, oh, we're nearly there. No, we're not. We're nowhere near anything with anyone, with any trophy or anything. We're nowhere near being where we should be. Centre back positions. Let's have a look at that. So you got William Saliba, who's question mark over him. Gabriel, good, like him, but even he says some silly things on social media and comes out and says things. Kiwior, he's just got a big question mark over him. I feel sorry for him because he's been thrown in, not even at a deep end. He's just been drowned by Arteta, thrown in away at Sporting Lisbon and then up at Anfield. Baptism of fire for him. And he's lost. So beginning of next season, if he's coming in, say Saliba ain't fit or Gabriel ain't fit, if he starts, then already he's got a black mark against him. He's like, people are thinking, oh, Kiwior, well, he let us down already this season. And really, has he really let us down? Because he's just been thrown in.
Darren, sorry to interrupt you, mate.
Yeah.
I just want to ask you this question, mate. Did Arteta want Kiwior and Jorginho, or was that Edu? Edu trying to like say, well, okay, we can't get Casido because we ain't going to pay the money, but we'll get this fella, and we get this fella.
I think Arteta probably didn't want Jorginho, but I think he might have gone along with the Kiwior one because Kiwior is a so-called future signing. But we know for a fact there was lots of talk of Casido, and there was another player as well that we were meant to sign for big money that we never did. So, you know, Declan Rice, again, has been sort of mentioned in that position. I don't think Arteta wanted him, but then when you see the press conference and when he arrived, Arteta sort of went up and was all sort of looked like he was overjoyed about it. So if you're the manager, right, and you're saying to the board, well, I don't really want him, he's not good enough, but they go, well, that's all you can have. He's better than nothing. All right, we'll have him. Don't then go and flash around on media and do all these videos and everything and go, oh, hello, Georgie. Yeah. Get him in your team, hang him out to dry like you've done other players, and then get rid of him next season. But he's not even done that. He's kept him on the bench when actually we could have done with him on the field. So strikers wise, we must have another striker. Nketiah's got to go. Look at what Newcastle have got now. They've got Isak up front. They got Callum Wilson. I mean, that's just going to terrorise defences next season, this season, and beyond that. It's a good little setup for them they've got up front. And no doubt they've probably had another one to that in the summer. Up front. Madness. Yeah, that's what I'll do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think some valid points there, mate. Honestly, I think some valid points. Matt, the Southern Gooner, good to see you, fella. Hey, brothers, Ivan Toney is what the doctor ordered. We need some beef up front, and he offers something different. We also need to look at another creative midfielder, defensive midfielder, and a right back, and another centre back surgery. Yeah, mate, we've been saying this. We've been saying this since the start of last season, Matt. Facts. We've all been saying this, man. Absolutely. Mate, thank you for your super chat. And looking forward to having a stream with you again. Where maybe that's on the American Idiot Show, TJ Warren. And TJ, give me a match prediction, mate, for tomorrow night. Give me a score.
Okay.
Give me a score.
All right.
I'll go to Kenny, then I'll go to Darren, then I'll come to me.
Okay, perfect. And then Jez, I'm gonna give my prediction, and then I'm gonna drop off because I have to do a work meeting.
Yeah.
But again, I just want to say thank you very much, and it's been a pleasure sharing the screen with Darren and Kenny Ken. It's an absolute pleasure. Seriously. I want to answer your question about who I would sell, who I'd sell. I'd sell everybody on loan other than Valigan. I want Reese gone. I want Eddie gone. El Neni gone. Vieira gone. Jorginho gone.
Everyone
gone except pretty much everybody. And then on the back line, Rob Holding and Kirior can go. All right. My match prediction is 2-1 to the Arsenal. 2-1 to the Arsenal. We are in need against a woeful Chelsea side. Chelsea are one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, and they are not turning it around with Frank throwing the likes of Raheem Sterling up at center forward. So combined with Fatty Frank's horrible tactics and our need to bounce back, I think we will nick it 2-1, and then hopefully we can carry some of that momentum in against Newcastle. So again, thank you, Jez. TJ Warren TV. I'm 3 subs off of 150. Come over, sub, and we're gonna have our normal American Idiot show Friday, 9 p.m. UK. I'll also be doing a match reaction immediately as soon as the final whistle blows. For the Chelsea game, I will go live, and I'll obviously drop the link to you guys if you want to come on.
Top man, top fella. Let's get this guy to 150. No, let's get him to 200. Let's get to 200, man. Let's go above the parapet and put our heads up there and smash it up. Get TJ to great show. I love going on there. Absolutely love it. It's always fun and great content. So everybody go and smash TJ Warren TV. Get him to 200 subs. Big
Thanks,
up,
Jess. All right,
Thanks.
I'll see you guys later.
Take care.
Top man.
Kenny, give me your predictions for tomorrow night, mate.
Well, seeing that if Frank wasn't in charge, I'll have had it down as a draw. But seeing that Frank's in charge, I think it's going to be 2-1. But we're going to make very heavy weather of it, extremely heavy weather of it. And it wouldn't, you know what? It wouldn't be like an Arsenal-Chelsea game of, last season where there'd be a bit of, we've got something to play for. We've got something to play for, but which is probably, a faint hope of the Championship. Chelsea have got nothing to play for. I think what Chelsea have got to play for is basically stopping us from actually having any chance of winning the title. And I think that's probably going to motivate them. But, 5 straight defeats doesn't leave them much confidence. The last saw, highlights of the Brentford game, they were creating chances. How? They didn't put them away. Only they know. That's Tony Rolfe, by the way, down there, Chelsea SW6. I know he's dying for Chelsea to have a go tomorrow.
Absolutely. Tony Rolfe, good to see him, fella. It's been great to see him. I haven't seen him for ages. We must at some point do a stream with Kenny and Lee. That'd be amazing. And Darren, give me your result. You're free for tomorrow night.
Right, I'm going to be honest. Straight up, I'm never biased. I always look at this without any sort of bias towards my own team. I'm going for Arsenal 1, Chelsea 2 tomorrow. I think Fat Frank's got the Indian sign over Arteta. I actually saw him with a Chelsea team beat us 2-1 a couple of seasons ago. We went 1-0 up, and Jorginho, I think, of all people, was one of the scorers for Chelsea that day. And I think the horror show continues for us. I don't think we've got any guts. I don't think we've got any momentum. I don't think we've got any motivation. I think psychologically, subconsciously in our heads, we've arrived. We've achieved the goal this season. We're going to get top 4. So I just don't think it's in them players to go out there and win. I think they know we've bottled the title, and we'll have a go. We might get a penalty and get a goal, but I think Chelsea will be more hungry because they ain't won a game in God knows how long. And they will be more hungry for the victory tomorrow. And I can see us coming unstuck by 2-1.
Well, I'm personally going to go. I'm going 2-0 Arsenal. I think we've got to bounce back. It's too late. But I think we'll bounce back. Chelsea, I think, at the moment, are absolutely appalling. Worst Chelsea team I've seen in, I'll say 15 years. Seriously. I mean, they just awful. And I know an awful lot of Chelsea fans would agree with me. So I know that doesn't actually make the result stick, but I just think that the Chelsea players at this, I don't know what's going on there. It's just a complete mess. Seriously. And is it to do with their new manager, Todd Boehly? I don't know. Is he just too much of a hard-on person? I've no idea. But I'm going 2-0. But I'm wishing Arsenal will win 2-0. I'm wishing that Man City will capitulate. Can't see it, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, going to wrap it up. I'm still absolutely so heartbroken that we've thrown this away. I really wanted, I won't lie, I really, really wanted to celebrate this May when I was born 62 years ago, celebrating us winning the Premier League. It ain't going to happen, but it is what it is. Darren, shout yourself out, man, before we go.
Yeah, Darren Sullivan 49 on Instagram. Come and have a look. I'll do a few videos and stuff, have a chat, and give me your prediction. What you think we'll do against Chelsea? Again, like Jez, I hope we get the 3 points and, somehow cling on in the hope that Man City might drop something when they got Real Madrid and all these other teams. But I'm not even looking at. As far as I'm concerned, it's all over. The title's gone. We've lost. But it'd be nice just for the players to prove me wrong and show that they want to do something and get as many points on the board as possible, and just keep running just in case Man City fall over and self-destruct. How's that going to happen? Jack Grealish, is he going to be in the newspapers for a sex scandal, or is Pep Guardiola going to, I don't know, get tapped up by Real Madrid or something? It's going to need something like that now, quite extraordinary for us to catch them up.
Totally agree. Kenny, mate. Shout yourself out, man.
I'm at Kenny Ken 1972 on Instagram. I do a bit of a Twitter, but Instagram's more fun. I'm just going to say, like, I agree with everything Darren said. Frank Lampard against Arsenal's got 50% record. Won the first game against us. Actually, he's played us 3 times. He's got a win, a draw at their place, and we actually beat him 3-1 and cost him his job the first time round at Chelsea. Also, I do want to say to Tony Rolfe, I hope to see you at the Emirates tomorrow. I'm sure if you're going, I'm sure I'm going to see Francis and hopefully see Bex as well. So I'll speak to you later. That's my Chelsea friends, by the way.
Top fellas, man. Top fellas. Guys, thanks for watching. Thank you for everybody in the chat that come in, and thank you for the super chats. I will be back probably Thursday. I'll be doing probably a match review, and it's annoying where we are at this point in the season. We were so far ahead, 8 points ahead, and now we're in second spot. I feel absolutely gutted, and I feel the pain of everyone. It's just so bloody annoying that we can't just seem to deliver. But Darren, Kenny, TJ that was here earlier, thank you for coming on, guys. You've given an honest analysis, and that's all we ever ask. We are realists on here. We're not bullshitters. We actually give honest opinions, and until, I'm sorry to say it, certain channels fuck off out of it and stop educating and trying to brainwash young Arsenal fans, we will still have the mediocrity mentality that is out there. And I swear to God, until they've gone, man, they need to fuck off. Simple as that. And I'm on that. Arteta out. You fucked it, man, and you can fuck off. See you later, guys.